Welcome to Learnit Training. The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to Excel. Visualize your data. You're learning with Mo Jones, IT professional and educator. In this course, we'll learn some really nice things. We'll learn just some of the data normalization basics. Before we start visualizing our data, what are some of the basic concepts that we need to apply? We'll learn how to analyze our data. We'll take a look at the quick analysis tool. Very, very nice tool. We'll build upon quick analysis. We'll take a look at the analyze data tool, which is very, very useful. And then we'll go ahead and have some fun with some visuals. A lot of what we'll be taking a look at today are tools that really does the work for us. It's a great way to gain insights and to analyze our data and to visualize our data as well. Go ahead and open up the first practice file, and we'll go ahead and jump into data normalization basics.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
What is data normalization? Well, data normalization is a process. It's a process of organizing our data in an efficient way. It's also a process of reducing redundancy. You want to work with data that's meaningful, that's actually going to be helpful when you're creating your visuals or analyzing your data. We also want to be able to improve the integrity of the data. So there's some basic steps that we can use to make sure that we are implementing data normalization. At the very basic level, there are more complex methods, but when you're working in Excel, we want to at least make sure that we don't have any duplicates in our data set. Blanks in a data set are a very big problem as well. When we have duplicates and or blanks, it makes our data incomplete. So when we create a visual, we may not be telling the correct story that we think we're telling. And then we want to be able to utilize a key identifier. Typically, that's some type of ID, whether a transaction ID or a product ID. We also want to make sure that we use meaningful field names or headers. Because when we start building our visuals, we need to be able to refer to the column by a name that actually makes sense for us. So in our first lesson, we'll go ahead and open up the first file. It says 1 data normalization. We'll go ahead and take a look at a pretty large data set, and we'll go through some basic steps to apply some data normalization. So go ahead and open up that first file and come right back. I have my file open here. So again, make sure you have this file open. It's the file that says 1 data normalization. Now let's take a look at this data set that we're working with. We want to understand it, and we'll go ahead and take a look and see if there are any errors or any blanks or any duplicate values in here. So I'll go ahead and just go from left to right. I'll take a look at the different columns here. Now I am working with a table. We can see the table design tab here. And that's a great way because when you're working with a table, we have filters. So we can see the first header is the segment. And if I click on the filter, this shows me the distinct segments here. So I can see I'm working with 5 segments. Under countries, I have 5 countries in here as well. As far as products, we're working with 6 products. Now, when I click on the filter here for the product, you can see down here at the bottom, we do have some blanks in here. So that's one way to identify blanks in a data set. If you click on the filter, if blanks are available, you will see them show up here. And then you can simply filter for those blanks, and you can work on them individually. Okay. Now, if we just kind of move on over here, so we're tracking sales by segment, country, product. We're recording the units sold, the gross sales. We have discounts in here as well. We can clearly see there's some blanks in here. So as expected, if I search for blanks, we have several blanks that are showing up. For sales, cost of goods sold, profit, date, month number, and the month name. So lots in here. Let's see how many records we're working with. I will press Control N on my keyboard, and we can see it goes down to row 701. So we have about 700 records to work with here. I'll go ahead and press Control Home. So we have a lot of really nice headers here that we can run reports on or create visuals on, by segment, by country, by product, by gross sales, units sold. So a lot of different things here, even by date. So this is a great data set to analyze in a pivot table and create some visuals as well. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the concepts. Now remember, we don't want any duplicates. We don't want any blanks. We would like to implement a key identifier. We want to use meaningful field names. So let's take a look. Let's see. The field names are pretty meaningful. I think they're okay. I don't think we need to really change anything here. They all make sense. So we're good to go. The one thing that we're missing though, we don't have a transaction ID. The transaction ID would be a good thing to do because then we can create visuals that will give us transactions by, segment or country or product. So I'm going to insert a column to the left. So I'll just insert a column to the left here. And I'll just call this one transaction ID. Okay. So I'll call that transaction ID. We can see it's not incorporated into the table. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and expand the table. But what I want to do first, it makes sense. I want to just create some transaction IDs, right? This is just for me to analyze the data. So I can go ahead and add a transaction ID in here. But I'll go ahead and sort by the date. I'll go by the oldest to newest. So here's our first transaction. And now I can go ahead and add the transaction ID in here. But I do want to expand the table. So I'll click on the Table Design tab here, and I'll click on the Resize Table command. And I'll just go ahead and include cell A1. So we'll start in column A. And once I press OK, we can see here our transactions. I'll keep it simple. I'll just start the first transaction with 1001 and then 1002. Just need to fix these. These should be just a general number, right? So now I can go ahead and populate the rest. I'll double click on the fill handle. And there you go. We have our transaction IDs. I'll press Control N. Great. So here are our transaction IDs. So we're good to go. So we've taken care of that. So let's go ahead and take care of the blanks. Now, if you want to find blanks in our data set, if we click on the Home tab in the Editing command group, we have Find and Select. If I go there and click on Go to Special, this box pops up. And what this allows me to do is to highlight the blanks that are on my data set. There are other ways we can do it as well, but this is a pretty quick way to do it. If I go ahead and press OK, you can see right here, we're seeing some blanks. And now I can just simply scroll through and get some quick visuals where my blanks are in my data set. And I can see most of the blanks here are in the discount column, which is not bad, so I can focus more so. Sorry for the excessive scrolling here. Right. So I could do that if I want to. So I'll go ahead and take care of the blanks here in the discount column. So I'll go ahead and click on the filter, and I just want to reveal the blanks, or I can sort. Let's see if I can just sort it. I'll sort it from, let's see, largest to smallest. No, it's not giving anything for me. I'll go ahead and just look for the blanks in here. Now that I have those blanks, it's okay. If you have blanks, you can just put a 0 there. That's perfectly fine. So I'll just put a 0. And I'll go ahead and just add zeros to all those blanks. I'll go ahead and clear the filter from the discounts. I know that there was a blank for the, I believe it was in the product ID or the product. Here we go. So it's the actual product. So let's see what that is. I'll go ahead and fix this one. So this one is product ID 102. Now we do have the product IDs. So let's see what product 102 is. I believe it's the Carretera. So I'll just go ahead and put Carretera in here. And there we go. I'll clear the filter from the product. And let's see if I sort by product ID. Let's take a look at 102. Yeah, so 102 is the Carretera, so we're good to go. So we're able to insert a key identifier, and we're able to fix the blanks that are in the data set as well. So we're good to go. We already have meaningful headers in here. The only thing to look for now is duplicates, right? So for example, if I had a duplicate transaction in here, I'd want to go ahead and take care of that. We can use conditional formatting to search for duplicates. It's already built in. We just need to go ahead and click on duplicate values after selecting that column. And I'll choose a light red fill if there are any duplicates. And now I can quickly just scroll through. I can see if there are any duplicate values in there. I don't have any, so I'm good to go. If I do generate a duplicate, it will let me know right away. Okay, so that's how it works. So we're good to go. I'll go ahead and sort this by transaction ID, and we're good to go. So those are just some of the basic steps that we can use to normalize the data. Other things that can be a little tricky, just to go ahead and check your fields. So for example, even though this looks like a date field, sometimes this will say text. So you just want to go ahead and just make sure everything is formatted properly, and we are good to go. Let's take a look at the quick analysis tool. The quick analysis tool is a really nice way to quickly analyze your data. I'll go ahead and open up my second file here. So this file is number 2, the quick analysis. We have a few data sets here that we want to work on. And this one was designed for teachers. So we have to help out our teachers here. We have a grade book, list of students in column A. And we have some different subjects: math, science, English, history, and art. Here are the different grades. And typically you want some type of summaries in here, right? So what were the average grades for math? What were the average grades per student? And maybe we just want to be able to see who stands out. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use the quick analysis here. I don't feel like writing any formulas or doing anything like that. I want to right click inside of the data. It's a well-defined list. We don't have any IDs in here. That's okay. Just for grades. So we're looking really for averages. So if I just right click anywhere inside of my data set, here is the quick analysis tool. If I also highlight all the data on the bottom right, you'll see the quick analysis tool appears right here as well. You can also press Control Q to bring up the quick analysis tool. In this case, I'll just go ahead and right click, and the quick analysis kind of shows up right away. So we can have it do some pretty interesting things. Here's formatting. So these are basically conditional formatting. Let's see who stands out. We'll use the color scale. We'll apply that to all of our grades in here. And the color scale here is giving us a lot of information. Green represents the higher values. Red represents the lower values. I'll go ahead and click on there. And just like that, I've color coded all of my grades. So now if I were to analyze the data here, I can see if I take a look at Edward, we can see Edward is, mostly red here. So Edward is has not failed. He's not doing bad, but he's not doing as great as the other students here. As opposed to, let's say, Nina, we can see Nina has some really high grades all across the board here. So that's a really nice way to use the quick analysis tool to just see who stands out. Okay, what else can we do? Well, let's see if we can figure out, what is the average grade based on subject? And what is the average grade for our students here? I'll use the quick analysis tool again. I'll right click. I'll click on quick analysis. And now we have some formatting in here, but I want some totals. So if I click on totals here, I can get a summary row on the bottom, but I don't want the summary. The sum of the grades doesn't really help me. I want the average. So if I simply hover over the average and I'll go ahead and click on it. Look at that, it's giving me the average. So we can see that math, 84.6, art, as expected, is a little higher at 90. So the average grade for our students for art was 90, for math, 84.6. Now I could change these. I can just change the decimals if I want to. Go ahead and decrease the decimal. I'll just go for 1 decimal point there. And there we go. So far, just by a few clicks of the button, we can see who's standing out. And we can get the average grades here for all of our students for per subject. Well, let's get the average on this side. And let's see what Alice's overall grade is, and Bob and Charlie and so forth and so on. I'll right click again, and I will click on the quick analysis tool. I do want the totals, so I'll click on totals here. Now, these first few here, sum, average, count, percent of the total, these all appear on the bottom row. If you head on over to the right, we can see these will provide details for us on that right column. So I want the average. So I'll click on average here. And there we go. We can see the average grades for each of our students. Alice was at 90 as expected. Nina, very high score here. So an average of 95 overall. So pretty nice tool to be able to use. Okay, so far so good. So we're pretty much good to go with this data set here. The one thing to note about the quick analysis tool, you can also just highlight the data that you want. You don't have to apply, conditional formatting or a quick analysis to the entire data set. If I just want to focus on the averages here, I can highlight that. I can run the quick analysis tool. And maybe for this section, I just want some data bars in there, right? Or maybe I want to highlight what's greater than a particular number. I can highlight the top 10%, who's in the top 10% of the grades here. So some other different things that I can do. So you don't have to use the entire data set. You can focus on a column or several columns there as well. This looks good. I'll go for the data bars here. And I'll just make this column a little wider so I can see the detail in here a little better. Very good. Let's get some trend analysis. So let's see how Alice is doing. Has Alice improved from trimester 1, 2, and 3? We can see there is a clear increase here. And let's see if we have any other ones here. Everyone seems to be doing pretty good. Kind of going up here. So Hannah went down just slightly. But let's go ahead and use the quick analysis tool here. Let's see if we can get ourselves a nice trend line analysis. Now, when we're talking about trends, we're talking about spark lines. I'll go ahead and right click on this data set. I'll click on quick analysis. And here are spark lines all the way to the far right. And if I click on line, spark line, it's creating the spark lines for me there to the column on the far right. Right? So it's a mini chart right inside of the cell. I'll go ahead and click on it here. And here are the individual spark lines. So we can see who's kind of trending up or down. I'll make this wider so we can see it a little better in here as well. I'll also change the color. We can also highlight the high point, low point in there as well. So there we go. We can see Alice is going up. Charlie went down and went up a little bit. We don't really have anyone that's going straight down. So that's pretty good. Most of our students are doing a pretty good job improving as the trimesters increases here. Julia had a small dip, but really good grades all across the board. So those are some of the different visuals that we can create by using the quick analysis tool. I'll go ahead and right click here. Let's see what else is in here. Okay, so let's see charts. Here's a clustered column chart. Just kind of gives us well, this could be pretty helpful, right? Kind of showing us each cluster, so the student and the actual grades per trimester. This one, let's see. This one is giving us, looks like a summary. Don't really need that. right? So not a lot of data here for an actual chart. So formatting totals and spark lines works pretty well. So that is the quick analysis tool. Feel free to use it just to gain some quick insight in here. I'll head on over to sales and we'll come right back. Let's see what else the quick analysis tool can do for us. So far we took a look at just some different examples of conditional formatting. We're able to summarize some rows and columns. And for this one, we'll take it a step further. We'll go ahead and create some visuals as well. So I'll go back to my file here. And our students, they have graduated and they are now sales reps. So we're tracking their sales across quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, there's a lot of detail in here that we can analyze. Let's get some visuals. I'll right-click on the data. I'll run quick analysis. And now I am interested in some totals. I'd like this to know the sum of sales for each quarter. So I'll use the sum here. And it adds that row to the bottom, summarizing the sales for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, let's see what else I can do. I'll right-click, quick analysis. Now for the totals, we have some other ones in here, such as the percent of the running total. We also have the running total from one quarter to the next. So we can see that from quarter 1, at the end of quarter 1, we were at 2,083,000. At the end of quarter 2, 4.14 million as well. So there's some other things that we can run. I think I'm good with the sum. So I'll go ahead and stick to the sum here. I already have it all. I'm not going to go ahead and cancel that. Okay, I'll click back in the data. Let's see if we can get some summaries on the right side here. And for totals, let's get the sum on the far right. So just instead of using the average, here's sales, we want the sum. So we get the sum of sales for Alice. We get the total sales for all of our sales reps. So almost like a pivot table. And we also have the sum for each quarter down here as well. Okay, I'll click away from the data. I'll click back in there. And let's see, I'll go back to quick analysis here. And let's see if I can get the running totals this time. So I can get the running total. Now this is very difficult to do in Excel. Requires a lot of formulas and calculating. But if I want the running total, then I can simply get it here. But notice if I try to use this, it's going to overwrite, or it's going to include row 17, which is not what I want. So you just need to be cognizant of that as well, right? So if I right click, quick analysis, I can get the running total on that right column, right? But again, it's going to include also column F, which is what we don't want. So I'll go for the percentage of the running total. So let's see, I'll go here. So here's my percentage of the running total. And then I would like one on the bottom as well. So percent of running total on the bottom. So we can say that the totals for quarter 1 represents 12.7% of the totals in here, right? So pretty close across the board, but we can see we had higher sales in quarter 4, which represents 12.8% of the running total. So when we're performing these, lots of different options that we can get. I'll go ahead and just go with the running total here on the bottom. And then on the right, I'll go for the percent of the running total. So let's see. So there we go. So pretty nice details that we can use in here. Let's see if we can get a nice visual. And I'm going to remove these. So I'm just pressing Control Z or just undoing. And I do want the total. So maybe I'll just grab the total for quarter 1 in here. because I want a nice chart. So here's a clustered column chart. So this is showing each cluster is the sales rep, and then we're seeing their quarterly totals in there. This one is a stacked column. This is a bar chart. I'll go for this one. Let's see what type of visual we can get here. I'll click on clustered column, and here is my chart. I can change the chart style. I'll go for more dark style here. Now this chart is a little hard to read because we have a lot of sales reps. We only have 4 quarters, so what I can do is just switch the row and the column, and now I can focus on the quarters as opposed to the sales reps. So let's see what this will look like. I'll switch the row and the column, and here we go. So here is quarter 1. Here's the value for Alice, Bob, so forth and so on. So pretty cool. So we can quickly create some visuals with the quick analysis tool. Let's see if I can create something else. I'll right click, I'll click on quick analysis. I'll go for a chart, and let's see. I think that's about the only one. I'll go for the stack column. Let's see if this one is a little easier to read. Make this one bigger. I'll put this over here. So as you can see, we have options. You can choose the type of visual that you want. On this particular one, though, we're just focusing on the totals. But in here, we can get a nice chart as well. And of course, I can go ahead and just put in the details in here. So that is the quick analysis tool. Really nice features and functions that we can work with. Let's switch this row and column. That's too much detail for me. I'll go back to focusing on the sales reps here and their quarterly totals. So very, very good. Go ahead and practice on this worksheet. Feel free to check out some of the other quick analysis tools and come right back. Welcome back. We will take a look at the Analyze Data tool. Very, very nice tool. Allows us to do several things. It allows us to ask questions about our data. So we'll have a little box here that we can actually type our questions in. We'll also provide some suggested questions for us based on our data set. We can also generate some visuals. So whether it's a chart or a pivot chart or pivot table, we can generate some nice visuals. And of course, it also provides additional insights into our data set. For this one, I'll go back to the file that I was working on earlier, that file number 1 for data normalization. And what I can do here is if right on the home tab, all the way to the very far right, we have the Analyze Data. So I'll go ahead and click there. Now this is an extension of the quick analysis tool. If I select a particular column or columns, it's going to give me insights based on those columns that I selected. I do want, to analyze the entire table here. So I'll just select any cell and I'll click on the Analyze Data tab. It opens up here on the right. Now we can resize this window if we want to. I think about this big is pretty good for me. And at the very top, you can see that we can analyze the data. We can ask questions. We can use a suggested question. And we can also go ahead and discover insights as well. For example, I'll go ahead and scroll down here and you can see it's taking a look at our data. This is giving us the sales by segment and month. So for example, I can say that we had 418,000 in sales for the mid-market segment in the month of September. So pretty nice. It's doing all the work for us. If I scroll down, here's a chart that's showing the discounts, gross sales by segment. That's pretty cool. Government had the highest sales. Channel partners had fewer. And let's see. And if I want to, I can click on show all 42 results down here. So I'll click on show all 42. And let's see. Gross sales, discounts and profit. That's a bit much there for a chart. It's giving us some other insight in here. It's telling us that government has noticeably higher units sold than the other segments here, which is some pretty nice ones. Let's just take a look at a few more. Here's a little more high and medium. Notice that we higher manufacturing prices. Let's go back to the top. Let's take a look at some questions in here. I'll start with a suggested question. What is the percentage of sale price for each segment? What is the distribution of the product by discount band? Well, let's see. Let's click on this first one here. Let's see what insight we can gain. So this is just letting us know that the prices for the government segment tend to be higher, and for channel partners, they tend to be lower here as well. All right, I'll go back and let's click in here and see if we can get some more suggestions here. Okay, insights for manufacturing price, total units sold by date as a line chart. Let's click on here and let's see. So this gives us a line chart based on the date, so we can see how we're progressing in terms of units sold over time. Pretty cool. Again, some of these will be right on point. Some will, you'll maybe pass on it, but let's see what else we can get in here. Cost of goods by month as a column chart. I'll go ahead and click here. Cost of goods sold. And here we go. It's using the month name. I'll go ahead and insert this here. This isn't actually pivot. This is an actual pivot chart. I'll go ahead and click here. And here we go. So it inserts the pivot table for us. We'll zoom in a little bit. So it inserts the pivot table. So we can see the cost of goods sold by month. So September. And then down here, we have the month name as well. All right. So that's pretty cool. And of course, we can go ahead and reconstruct this pivot table if we want to, but we're good to go. I'll just rename this one COGS by month. All right, let's go back to sales and let's see what other insights we can gain here. Now, let's see. I'll try and type in a question. Let's see if I can find something that makes sense. Okay, so I'll say gross sales for VTT product. So gross sales for VTT product. And look at that. It actually provides that detail for me. So 21,968,533.50. So pretty nice. So you can see it's giving us a few things here. It's giving us our answer, and it's also giving me some other options. So maybe it did not catch exactly what I was looking for. I can change it to the average gross sales for that particular product if I want to. So it just takes a little bit of practice. The main thing is just understanding your data set. Once you have a good understanding of your data set, you'll be familiar with the different type of questions that you want to be able to ask as well. So here's a pivot table that it will insert for me that's generating the average of the gross sales for that particular product. So pretty nice way to use the Analyze Data tool. Go ahead and practice with the Analyze Data tool and come right back, and we'll finish up by building out a pivot table and creating a pivot chart. The Analyze Data tool is a really nice tool because it gets us up and running. We can quickly create visuals and we can quickly insert even pivot tables based on our data set. I'm going to look for a pivot chart and a pivot table. This pivot table gives us the sales by segment and the month name. I'll go ahead and insert that pivot table. So here's the pivot table. It's up and running. A lot of columns though. So I'll show you how we can kind of fix this in just a little bit. I'll go back to the sales and maybe I want a chart. Here's the sales by segment. I'll go ahead and insert this pivot chart here as well. I'll go ahead and close the Analyze Data. So here is my sales by segment. So I'll just go ahead and name this here. Sales by segment. And this other one here was this is more of a sales by segment and month. Sales by segment and month. So as you can see right away, we have two really nice visuals in the form of a pivot table to tell a story and the sales by segment as well. I'll just go ahead and zoom in just a little bit. Now for this chart, we can customize the chart as well. So once you have your visual created, if you click on Pivot Chart Analyze, or the design rather, you can do things like change the style if you want to. You can even change the colors that are being presented on there. So you can always feel free to do that. I'll go with this orange color here, and I'll switch over to this style number 7, which gives me a more of a dark theme in here as well. So that looks pretty good. I'm getting some really, really nice details. Sales by segment and month. Now this one is a little hard to read because there's a lot of columns. Now, when you're working with the pivot table, it's all about the pivot table fields. So you can see here are the fields from that data table. And then over on the right, we actually have some boxes. So we basically ask questions by dragging the fields into these different boxes. So for example, what are the sum of sales by segment and by month name? Well, what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and switch the month. The month name is in the columns here, and we have 12 months. And so it's just kind of making it difficult to see. What I can do is I can just move the months into the rows, and then I'll have, more rows to work with. And then I can place my segment into the columns. So let's see, I'll just go ahead and switch them. So I'll move the month to the rows. How we can see it's already moving things around for me. I'll go ahead and drag the segment into the columns. And at least for me, it's much easier to read the table in this manner, right? So we can see we have the segment in the columns here. So here are the different segments. And then of course we have the month name, which is in the actual rows. So over here. So this is a much better view. Another view that we can use, we may want to put both of them in the same, in the rows as well. If I drag the segment into the rows like that, here's another view. Right. And we also get some drop downs as well. So whenever we have two fields in one of these boxes, we can collapse them individually. Or if I right click on one of them, I can collapse the entire field. So this is one view. And then if you want to focus on government, you can just click here. We can get the monthly breakdown here as well. So pretty nice way to work with a pivot table. I'll go ahead and put the segment back into the columns and we're good to go. So the pivot table is all about condensing the information and summarizing our data. We have a grand total column over here on the far right, and we have a grand total column down here for our last row. So it's allowing us to answer specific questions such as what were the total sales for the government segment in the month of October. We can see it's over 5 million here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and build a quick pivot table here. I'll click on the sales tab. We'll generate a pivot table. We'll also generate a pivot chart. If I click on table design, one of the options is to summarize with a pivot table. So I'll go ahead and click here. The traditional way is to click on the insert tab after you've selected your table and just click on pivot table. So either one will work fine. I'll go ahead and click on pivot table here. I'll go ahead and press OK. So you can see when we click on insert pivot table, it's asking us just to confirm the range and where we want to place the pivot table. I want to place it on a new worksheet. So I'll go ahead and press OK. So here is my pivot table. This is the normal view. It's stacked. So we can see we have the fields up here on the top and the boxes down here on the bottom. I want to do two things. I want to go ahead and sort the fields A to Z, and I want to change the view. So once I click on the gear icon here, I can sort A to Z. And then I'll go ahead and change it to field, section, and area side by side. This will allow me to see my fields better. Right now I have to scroll through. So I'll change it to a side by side. And I'm good to go. So pretty cool. Right now my pivot table has a weird name, which just says pivot table 1. I can either click right here where it says pivot table name on the pivot table analyze tab. I can change it right here. Or I can right click on the table, go to pivot table options, and I can change the name here as well. So 2 places where you can change the name. You can choose whichever one you want to here as well. I'll go ahead and call this segment sales. And I'll go ahead and press OK. Now let's answer some questions. Well, I want to know, let's see, I'll focus on the sales, or it should be sorted. What happened here? That's interesting. Sales is not sorted here. Okay. Let's see. I'll go for sales. I'll drag the sales to the values box. It's already giving me the sum of all of the sales. Well, what else do I want? I want sales by, let's see, by country. So I'll just click on the checkbox for country. And right away, we have sales by country. What about sales by country and by product? Place both of them in the rows for me. So I'll place the country in the columns. And there we go. Sales by product and by country. The only thing I want to do here, though, is just to change the format. It's a little difficult to read the numbers, so I want to go ahead and change it to the accounting format. To do that, I need to get to the value field settings. So I will click on the drop down here for sum of sales and the values. I'll click on value field settings. And this will allow me to change the number format. So I'll click on number format here on the bottom left. And I'll change this to the accounting format. And then I'll go ahead and press OK. Notice in the value field settings as well, you can change the name that appears right here. So maybe I'll just say total sales instead of sum of sales. So I'll say total sales and I'll go ahead and press OK. And there we go. So notice all of my numbers have been updated to the accounting format and I'm good to go. I'll click on the design tab here. Maybe I want a different table style. So I can always just change it to another table style. So just like with tables, we have light tables, we have medium tables, and we also have dark tables as well. So you're going to go ahead and choose the table style that works best for you. Lots to choose from here. I'll go for this one. All right, so there is my other things that we can do from the design tab is I can change the type of layout. So right now it's in compact form. I'll check out the outline form. So it just gives a little more spacing in there. And then I'll choose the tabular form. Just kind of makes the cells a little visible. I'll go back to compact form and I'm good to go. So that's how we can construct a quick pivot table here. If we want to add any other details, we can simply click on it. For example, I can click on segment and I can either place it in the rows, or if I want to place it somewhere else, I can do that. But if I click on it, the pivot table actually just places it on the table for me. And now we can see we have a larger data set to work with. But the whole idea is to keep the data in a condensed form. So I don't really need the segment right now. I'll go ahead and remove that. I'll go ahead and create a pivot chart. So let's visualize this data a little further. I'll click on Pivot Table Analyze. And from there, I'll go ahead and insert a pivot chart. So here's a clustered column. Now I can choose other chart types if I want to. Pie chart, bar, stock. So some other ones in here. I'll choose this one and press OK. I can always change it later. So here is our pivot chart. Comes with some really nice filters in here that I can use. So I'll filter by country. And you can see it filters the pivot table as well. So they're connected. So any filters that I run on the pivot table is going to be displayed on the pivot chart and vice versa. I'll clear that filter. Now we're back to normal. So that is our pivot chart. I'll go ahead and give this one a design as well. And there we go. So really nice looking visual here. And we're good to go. I can move this chart if I want to. I can move it to another worksheet, but we're good to go. We're able to answer some questions about our data set, and we're able to visualize the data as well. So pretty cool. I'll just go back to the design tab here for my table. And let's see if I can get another color in here. Why not? I'll go for that one. So we're good to go. So go ahead and practice using the Analyze Data tool. You can modify a table once the table has been inserted. And feel free to go ahead and insert another pivot table or 2 or 3 from the existing data set. Don't forget to create a pivot chart as well. In the last segment, we're able to practice by building a pivot table and creating a visual in the form of a pivot chart as well. So feel free to go ahead and practice. We do have another file in here. So I have a file called number 3, which is some HR data. So feel free to take a look at that data set. Go ahead and either you can run the quick analysis tool for this. Let's see if we can get some charts in here. All right, so here is sum of years of service by education level. That's a pretty nice chart, actually. Makes a lot of sense. Right. So we can see that our bachelors, right, have more length of service in terms of years. So pretty nice. So again, it's just a matter of seeing what's available. This one is performance rating by education level. So let's see if we can gain any insights into here. Let's see if there's any correlation with education level and performance. And we can see our bachelor's employees has a higher rating than our PhD, which is interesting here. Right? So pretty nice. So lots of opportunities for us to practice. So feel free to take a look at this file. You can even click on the Analyze Data tab and see what type of insights we're gaining in here. And while I'm here, this one looks pretty good. So performance rating by department, gender, and work location. Here's a chart that we can insert as well. So here's another one, frequency of age. I'll go ahead and click on insert this one here. And strangely, this one, okay, so that happened because I selected the age. Looks like maybe I've selected the age column here. So it's only giving me insights for that particular. That's a little strange. I've never seen that happen before. Let's try that again. Let's run this one more time. That's interesting. Okay. Well, we know that we can move this chart anyway. So if I just click on Move Chart, I can move it to a new sheet. And there we go. So take a look at the HR data set. Go ahead and play around with it. So we have some nice insights here that we're gaining as well. Well, congratulations on completing the course. Just wrapping up here, just remember that automation is available. So between the quick analysis tool and the Analyze Data tool, a lot of automation is available. Even when we're building our pivot table, we can just click on the check boxes and Excel will build the pivot table for us. So this entire course is just based on being able to create visuals and save time with these different tools. We can gain some quick insight, some efficient insight into our data set. And at the end of the day, we want to be able to create a visual and tell a story from our data set. So make use of the practice files that have been provided for this course and continue on your journey. Check out more of the features that are available and create some really, really nice visuals.
Thanks for watching. To earn certificates and watch our courses without ads, check out LearnitAnytime.com.